Call me in order if you join me in the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. To the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Okay, we got a busy evening, but first thing I'm going to turn the meeting over to Chief Tom O'Brien. Good evening, everybody. There's two really great days and a really great day in our chief's career when you can serve new people in. There's kind of a sad day when he has to say goodbye to someone who was very well and very long. Patrick has done a lot of things, wearing a lot of hats. His newest hat, he's left the enlisted director at one center. He left to go to the state, and when he left to go to the state, unfortunately, that took away from the time he was able to commit to work and serve all of you as our residents. So I just wanted to do very quickly a little appreciation for him. Patrick was here. The 30-year appreciation acts. That's for everything he's done and kind of his retirement from the party service. Be ready now.
You know, he was in a post such a good opportunity.
Yeah, speech.
Thank you to all the residents. First of all, Chief Ling's here. Chief Ling took a chance on me clear back in 1993. When I was coming out, my uncle put me for CASA, and Suzanne's here for him. It's just an unbelievable time. It's a great time. We've been on many runs, many calls of everything you can help out the community from everywhere, from all over. I mean, I Lincoln County and Clarence County and everywhere else. And I think the coldest fire we had was up in Sunbury in Columbus Street. It was 20-some degrees below zero. But we were there. So I just want to thank everybody. This is a great opportunity, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I want to thank you, Patrick, and for the service you've done to Harlem Township all the years.
Thank you, sir.
No, thank you, Pat. Thank you. And now comes the fun part where I get to swear somebody in, starting her career here. Worked as a firefighter medic. She also works at Children's, and she brings a lot of experience to the department. She is assigned to one, works with the Senate K, and is progressing along very nicely. So don't forget anything. Okay. So we're going to give her the oath, and she asked for a copy. So we'll see how this goes. So raise your right hand and repeat after me, or read after I read. I, Bert Curtis, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of firefighter paramedic.
And will faithfully discharge the duties of firefighter paramedic
at Harlem Township Division of Fire,
at Harlem Township Division of Fire,
in Harlem Township, Delaware County, state of Ohio,
in Harlem Township, Delaware County, state of Ohio,
during my continuance in office.
During my continuance in office.
So we got.
So we got.
Welcome to team.
Yeah, I was ready this time. Smile.
We got a couple items we're going to do. We're going to do an executive session for a little bit. Carol, finish your spiel. Thank you.
It's kind of related to the larger piece on communications. Yeah. Listen to. Yeah, big part of that. Page 3, I'll be here for a while. It's good. Page 2, top pages. I think it's here. See where there you are. Sorry. So Lindsay, do you want to come up and Carol can come maybe to talk about the communications things things you should be able to talk right on that computer screen.
Talk right here.
It's more or less it'll be again. I think it looks like the things we have to talk about infrastructure, which I think was Carol. I think once it quiets down a little bit, it'll be a little bit easier to conduct. Thanks, Val. All right, so Lindsay here from the Communications Committee for Township. We've got a couple of things to talk about. Some improvements to the email infrastructure, and then how we're going to get some outbound communication to the residents. So Lindsay, I'll let you go from there.
Yes, the Communications Committee would like to recommend to the trustees the adoption of a software service called Constant Contact as a way to improve the township's outbound communication to residents. It is a paid monthly service that would allow us to create attractive email templates for newsletters and communication to residents and even fun event emails. And it would allow us to keep better track of resident emails as people move in and out of the township. Residents would even be able to subscribe and unsubscribe themselves to communication. So it would just be a big upgrade from the main processes that are being used right now to keep track of resident emails. It would allow us to very quickly and easily do a lot more communication with residents. And you've been provided budget information for the monthly fee. And then in addition to that, we have been working with Carol here about the township's email infrastructure and improving that with the actual like internal township emails and creating some department emails. Carol, do you want to talk more about what the plan for that is?
Hopefully this mic works, so we'll get up there. So kind of to expand upon what Lindsay was saying, we want to consolidate away from having arlingtownship.net and arlingtownship.com email addresses and move to more of a unified singular domain, which would be the arlingtownship.com. And then have mentions about arlingtownship.gov being in the future as well. To consolidate to a singular domain. Part of that is moving the commissions that currently use these .net addresses to the .com addresses so that it would fall under the same domain and the residents could know for sure that they're talking to an official member of the township. We would cease use of the .net domain and then migrate over to those .com domains.
So I can provide a little bit more context on. There's a couple of different motions that we have in the agenda on this. One of them that the first one that's on the bottom of page 2 talks about the improvements to the email infrastructure. Essentially, I think the only additional lift there, and Carol, correct me if I'm wrong, that's over and above our monthly contract with you as it is if we need to add any additional .com email addresses. And what we're thinking about is the chair and vice chair of each one of the commissions or committees. And then those two would be responsible for disseminating information down to the members of the commissions and the committees. So that might add 2 emails per committee. Right now, I think we counted 3, right? BZA, zoning, and communications. Mm-hmm. So we're looking at less than $50 of a lift when it comes to that, and those would be established. And then the other one that's mentioned before we have any discussion about it is necessary. Constant Contact, we got an opportunity actually to save a little bit of money. I think it's $75 a month, right?
Correct.
But if we go annually, with like a 15% savings or something.
Correct. So
that would bring it to from $765 a year to $561 a year, and this would give us outbound emailing well and above the demands of the township right now, based on the email collection that the SPC and some other bodies have previously done. This is the same platform that neighboring township or neighboring municipalities use as well, correct?
Correct. We investigated what other municipalities were using around us and saw that Constant Contact was a favorite.
Yeah. So going to be a huge improvement on how we are sending information out to the township. Historically, right, there's been a quarterly newsletter, things like that. But what this will do is allow us to set up some automations where citizens can choose almost how frequently and from which departments of the township they're actually getting outbound information from. So I think that's going to be a really big step forward in increasing the transparency that goes on in the township, make sure everybody's in the loop. But we can, Carol was nice enough to come to some time for us tonight, and Lisa's here, so you can have any discussion or questions that it might be.
Well, and other departments can use it too, utilize it.
Correct, yeah, well, whole township function.
Throw something up to the residents, or if I want to, I mean, any of us can use it.
Yep, parks, everything.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good improvement. So our motion here, would you make it up to $50 additional?
I think I would probably start the motion with up to $50 additional. Okay. Infrastructure costs. If there was anything I want above and beyond that, then we could come back. Raise that. Okay. Raise that. So
yeah, you had mentioned with the zoning commission, and you had mentioned chair and vice chair having .com emails. We were told before by the prosecutor's office that we all have to have official emails, or else if there's a problem, they can subpoena personal emails.
we can.
I want that.
Sure, I don't blame you. We can do a little research and figure out what that is. My assumption is that that would be limited to if you're communicating on official township business. And our goal is to kind of make sure that we're funneling the official township email communication through official township emails and have appropriate backup at the same time. I see it.
So I have the same concern. And, if you're on, I'm on a BZA. And so if I'm not the chair or vice chair, and therefore I don't have a .com address, but I get emails from Keith or Jim or whoever. If there's, God forbid, a big problem, it's easy for people to find out who's on the BZA, where emails went. And if emails were sent to me, my device can be taken under their control. And we'll subpoena it and we'll take your device away. So
This is why we all
I don't want anything to do with that.
addresses.
Sure. So we can have some additional conversation about the number of email addresses, perhaps each communication. I don't know. So debate or define a class assumption on that because it's not your device, it's the communication that they would take.
They would take the device to take, depending on how bad the situation got.
Understand.
They can come get your device.
And I think what we want to make sure we're doing is all communication on township business is backed up, is transparent, so that we can go back and do that because we have not been able to do it in the past based on the existing infrastructure.
Yes.
Right. So we're trying to move forward in the right direction with that, of having the correct email signs. So we can look into that, but I guess there's questions there. I mean, how many between
BZA has 5.
Well, but what about the alternates? Because the alternates are available as well, right?
Right.
And so how many people is that?
That would be about 7, could be 7.
That's, that's a considerable number of emails right there. And then as those people ebb and flow, as those positions and appointments change, we're going to talk about appointments on that board changing tonight. That's email work, that's infrastructure work that has to be done, changed, things like that. So we can work on maybe non-descriptive basis, right? Which is essentially a version, I think, of what it is right now, right? BZA 1 and Home Township, BZA 2. Right. That might be something that we could entertain. Okay. So, I mean, I think what's important is that we defend the descriptions and committees, right? So that they're not put into any kind of tough spot when it comes to their own devices. Right. But I think it's also very important that we're very forthright with the information in the township, right? We can provide the public records when requested, but we can back up the information that's been communicated both directions. Any other thoughts?
Well, I would be in favor of spending whatever is necessary to provide the protection to the members of these committees.
Yeah, I agree. So I think for right now, we set that as far as the email additions go, we set that bar at about $50, which would justify essentially 6 additional emails. And then, if that changes based on conversations on zoning and BZA, we can bring it back to the board and decide if we want to move further. So is that a motion? Yeah, first motion. I move to approve initiating project through Buckeye Cloud to improve our email infrastructure and organization. With additional costs not to exceed $50 above our monthly agreement, as well as contracting with Constant Contact, which I will cover in a separate motion. Looks like, right, Lisa?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So second. All in favor, aye? Aye. Motion carried. The second motion as it relates to Constant Contact, I would move to approve hiring Constant Contact communications vendor with residents at a rate of, I would go $561, right, Lisa, so we can take advantage of the savings, just go annually, we're not gonna do it less than that.
Yeah, everybody uses it.
Right.
So there's no wrong with us. We're not gonna get.
Trustee Holiday will sign appropriate paperwork on behalf of the board. Second. I'll second that. All in favor? Aye. 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 Motion carried. Anything else for Carol? Yeah, anything else? So chair, vice chair, probably next month, right?
Next one, yeah, thank you.
Good job. Okay. Carol, thanks, man.
Can you pull your mic? We're having some complaints about the quality of the audio.
Sure. How's that?
A few words about this now, we're closer.
Steve lies around in the fantastic human being. That's in the record.
Go ahead, boys.
Yeah, Steve's the wizard.
One more time.
Steve's the wizard of Zoom.
Yeah, it's fuzzy.
Okay.
So keep them close in.
Right.
Move them a little closer, Dave.
All right. Next, before we break away for executive, Doug Regal.
Thanks.
Thank you, trustees. Doug Regal, Township Liaison from the Delaware County Chair's Office. On a contract for the paving of Montgomery Road that needs approved by the. I have a copy here that can get signed. I'm not sure if Lisa has one, but I can.
Sign for the.
Okay. That works for me.
Yeah.
Now that's all I had. Thank you.
Okay. Make a motion for approval of the OPWC Montgomery Road project contract. This is approved OPWC Montgomery Road project, and the estimated project cost is $288,057.18. The amount not to exceed $25,000 to be paid by Harlem Township. Delaware County's match fund would be up to $75,000. It's a 3-to-1 match. The OPWC grant is not to exceed $220,668, which is 78% of the cost of the project, which is a grant from the state. That's my motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Jackson.
Aye.
Holiday.
Aye.
Trainer.
Aye.
Motion carried. Contract approved. This time we'll entertain a motion to go into executive session for interviews.
I know that we're waiting on the applicants to show up. Sonia, I think we're still waiting on Sonia. Do you want to get some of the other items?
Yeah.
Well,
We have other interviews that we could do. Okay.
We could probably start executive.
Yeah, let's start. We can break away. So. Yes, please.
So moved.
No, wait a minute. Need to move to go, I'll make the motion. Move to go into executive session, discuss appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of employee. Roll call vote, please.
Jackson.
Aye.
Holiday.
Aye.
Trainer.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. We are going to executive session. We'll call the first applicant in a couple of minutes. Invitations to executive. Yeah, well, it would be Chief, Lisa, Mike, Jim, everybody. I think so. Okay.
Audio. Okay.
All right. Are we good?
Is your mic on now?
Yes.
Yep, I got good signal. Yep.
Okay. Have a motion to come back out of executive session.
So moved.
Your second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Jackson,
Aye.
Holiday,
Aye.
Trainer.
Aye.
Okay, we're back in session. Does the board have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move to approve the employment contract and job description between Harlem Township and Ashley N. Zaruba at the pay rate of 21.01 per hour, 43,780 yearly, biweekly 1680.80, including benefits with a starting date of August 2nd, 2024.
Okay, have a second?
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Not, we have a roll call vote, please.
Jackson,
Aye.
Holiday.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Welcome, Ashley.
She's still here, Lisa. You get to do the paperwork.
Stuck around, felt good about
Okay.
What's Ashley's last name, please?
Ashley, how do you pronounce your last name?
it. Zaruba, it's like Aruba with a Z kind of.
I'm gonna remember that. Aruba with a Z.
Okay, you want to dive into your business, Lisa?
Sure, you guys got July's financials, emailed to you, approval of the minutes, trustee minutes. June the 12th, regular, June the 18th, special, June the 24th, special, June the 26th, special, June 26th, special, July the 11th, special.
Okay. Is there any additions or corrections to those minutes or those dates? If not, we have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
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 Minutes are approved.
Okay, approve the warrants and vouchers. To pay bills in the payment listing report, starting with warrant number 13532 through warrant 13546, voucher 102-2024 through voucher 107 2024, total amount $54,664.89.
Have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Approval of removal of credit card user trustee Adam Holiday from the First Commonwealth Bank credit card and authorize me to complete the removal of the account and destroy his credit card.
Okay. Have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Okay, approval to add the new credit card user, trustee John Trainer, to First Commonwealth Bank with a credit limit of $5,000 and a Home Depot credit store credit card in accordance with the township credit card policy. Authorize me on behalf to complete the new credit card for.
Have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, I sent out an email about the auditor of state is required to develop training material detailing Ohio's fraud reporting system. There's an 8-minute video to watch, and after watching it, you have to print out the certificate and sign the acknowledgement of receipt and get it to me, which I had already sent out the email. So any questions?
No, I just haven't got around to it yet.
Okay. That's it.
Okay. The Montgomery Road, motion we did earlier before executive session. The next item is approval of to pay half of Valerie's, cell phone. Using it for township business. It's at the rate half would be $15 a month. Would be added to her check. Because Valerie's accessible to the trustees and township staff while she's working in office as well as remotely. Now, is this effective now or is it remote, retroactive back or?
No, it's what month?
Okay.
Because I have to get it set up on pay.
Okay. Have a motion to approve?
So like if you tell me start in August, then in August, I'll make sure that once a month, there's $15 on their pay.
Well, yeah, guess it'd be August then, right?
Soon as we can.
August 1.
Well, with the next August pay.
Okay. Motion to approve that way.
So move.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. We took care of the email situation before we went in. Okay, John,
Talk for a little bit.
sure.
So based on the presentation that was given during our last trustee meeting in regard to tips, that compelled me to do some work. And I want to talk about that work a little bit, as well as it's kind of an introduction to perhaps the way that I like to function in the township. And so I'm gonna pass out a John Trainer meeting and call log. And I'm not gonna have one for everybody, but if you want to grab one, oh, thanks. And you just kind of pass it around. I've only got like 10 or so. We can kind of, if you would stretch that out, that would be great. So one of the things that I think is very important is open communication. I think that open communication builds trusting relationships. And one of my responsibilities as a trustee is to build relationships and build relationships with people inside the township and also build relationships with people outside the township. And so for the past month, this is kind of a, did you get one? No. This is kind of a record of calls and meetings that I've had over the past month. And this has been with an intent in that I'm trying to understand the process that the trustees and others have been going through over the past several years, and be able to offer recommendations based on that knowledge. So I'm very happy to talk about these in detail if you would like me to. I think that it's a way that we should operate as a township, that to the degree that we are able, we are resisting stovepiping, and we're working on open comms. That's absolutely important, sir. What's stovepiping? That is operating, if you think about a chimney on a building, not operating inside the chimney as if I'm an individual, not related to everything around me, but then I'm relating to everything around me and I'm breaking down the walls. So that's stovepiping. That's typically referred to in like an organization. Okay. So in the course of this, I want to present to you, I wanted to get this on a larger sheet, but I was unable to. This is kind of a summary from my perspective of some of the work that the township has been doing
over the past several years. And there's 15 of these. I'm just gonna like, somebody's gonna have to share here. Thanks. So as we take a look at this, there's been a ton of work that has been going on since really before 20. Although this starts at 20, we know that there was work going on before 20. And in particular, there was a strategic planning committee that began, I think, actually prior to 20, Bob. Is that right? Or was it maybe 19 or so?
2019 it was formed, 2020 it started. Yeah.
And that group worked toward modifying the Harlem Township Comprehensive Plan Update. And you can see all of the elements of that comprehensive plan update, which there are many. And when you read that document, it's an impressive document. And one of the most important things that comes out of that are kind of these goals and objectives that are these guiding lines of effort for the township. And then as the Intel announcement unwrapped itself in 22, just as that committee kind of wound down, Intel makes this announcement, and the trustees realize, hey, we got to spin this thing back up again because there's more work to be done. And so not only do they start a strategic planning committee again, they hire a developer to come alongside and walk with them through this process. And the result of that is the Harlem Township Quick Strategy Guide that actually comes out in 2023. Again, top-notch quality document that really is pivotal. It's added as an appendix to the comprehensive plan update. And that's kind of why you see the line going to the comprehensive plan. But it gets into really kind of the specialty of Crossroads, which is land use and zoning. And they explore a number of other areas as well and do some great case analysis. This is all online, you have the opportunity, I would encourage you to go online and look at that. So Crossroads is hired, they're actually hired through 625. And so you can see that on the data up there. Strategic Planning Committee works from 322 to 424. And in the midst of that, I'm not sure what the exact date is, but at some point begin working on a Westerville merger discussion. So that's just that there's that off-ramp to a Westerville merger discussion that occurs somewhere in 23. There's an offer that's extended to Caleb Bell, who is one of about 10 government and private funding lawyers in the state of Ohio, works downtown, to come alongside and help develop an economic plan for the township. And then it was decided not to stay focused on Caleb, to hire an economic development director, which actually occurs in 18 October, I believe, with payback to 1 October. Is that right, Jim? Of that year, of 23?
No. I'd have to look. It was,
yeah.
As a contractor, and then because of legalities, we switched to.
Okay.
Caleb, can I give you information?
No, right now.
Okay,
yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah, I put him on there just to know.
He's a good.
Yeah, just to know. So, and then this past month there was a TIF proposal. So what I want to carry away from this is that there was a flow, there was a stream of action that was resulting in these high quality documents, but that at a point in time last year off-ramped into a merger discussion. And at some point that merger discussion broke down, and the details, the why, the how, it doesn't matter at all. And in April of 24, and then the trustees were given a TIF proposal in June of 24. That's so that the point is that we did a 180. We went from a merger discussion to a TIF discussion.
Well, we never stopped the other activities. The Westerville investigation, which never really got off the ground,
right,
was being run in parallel. It wasn't stop what you're doing and just go do that. The work on the overlays continued in the SPC.
The little subcommittees were still working.
Well, the whole thing was.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. So it was both happening at the same time. Yeah. Sir.
Where are the overlays in here?
The overlays are as you go down into the comprehensive plan, and you're talking about land use, etc. It's in the comprehensive plan that you've come up with the overlays.
Yeah, or it's in the quick strategy guide
as well.
And it's under the zoning area.
Yeah. They got that? So if you
no, but go right ahead.
Yeah, so and you can find these, you can find both of these documents online and track them pretty easily.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. So as I have engaged in these conversations over the past month, what has and my focus has been, what do you think about the process the township has been engaged in thus far? Where do you think we should go from here? And I'm looking for advice from subject matter experts in strategic planning. So people that it's been their life, it's their profession, to come alongside municipalities or townships and help them with the big picture. And while we have developed a comprehensive plan and we have a quick strategy guide, neither of these documents are really that strategic plan that I think that Harlem Township truly needs to move forward in the next stage of our life. In other words, what is the foundation upon which we're going to build? And what is critical is as you look at this master plan layout on the bottom, are the individuals and the entities that contribute to the development of that master plan. And so you'll notice that there are external stakeholders, there are subject matter experts that help you with that creative process, and then there are all the internal stakeholders. And what tipped me, I think, was when the trustees were asked to consider a TIF proposal, is understanding that a TIF proposal has implications for a relationship with a school system. And even though that school system may be held harmless, what's absolutely vital, and as you talk to these SME, these subject matter experts around developing strategic plans, is one of our key relationships going forward is the school. And have we developed what I would call a redemptive relationship with those entities before we start walking down a path where we're making decisions about tools that have impact in their lives and our lives at some point in the future. And the importance of developing the relationship prior to sending a letter or employing the tool. And as I talked with these folks, they said, what's really important and vital is if you can actually get these folks to come alongside you and help you with the planning process, that they're actually getting buy-in, ownership, and walking down this path with you, not to the extent that each of us would, but at some point in time. For example, Dana McDaniel, who is currently helping with economic development in Delaware County, said, it's not that you're going to see members of Delaware County coming up to help you with your strategic planning meetings, but you could say to the Delaware County stakeholders, hey, I'm going to come up to Delaware County. Let's get together, all of us in one room and one night. We'll share with you our vision. and ask how you can contribute and help over time as we walk down the path with this strategic plan. And so as I talk to each of these individuals, whether it's Caleb Bell or Pete Griggs, or I didn't talk to Pete, Caleb Bell said he would love to work with Pete. They know each other and they've worked on things like this in the past. Or I talked to Dennis at MKSK, or of course Dana, also to Joe Clace, who all of these individuals know one another. They all do strategic planning and agree that this kind of a process is really the next step for us as a township. And then you'll notice the product that's developed, that there's some of this is pulled from, for example, the policy from Genoa Township. I look at Genoa, and to me, they're about 20 years ahead of us. They've walked down this path. They've wrestled with Westerville, and now they're looking at a residential township, and they've really worked to develop a residential township. And so when you look at their strategic plan, this first part is why do we have this plan, and how are we going to develop it? What are the rules of the road for this plan? And one of the things is that establishing a public record, that is that everyone in this township understands what the plan is. They understand where we're headed, so that when they hear, hey, the township trustees are considering a TIF, they already have heard what a TIF is. They understand how it fits into the strategic plan. And it's not a surprise to them. They've been informed. And so when we're talking about a commercial TIF that covers commercial districts or that covers the entire township, we have done due diligence as we walk down that path and not surprise them. And the trustees are not surprised because we see the strategic plan. And when that tool comes along, we understand how it fits into plan. And so if I'm accustomed to hearing courses of action. And so when someone presents an idea like a TIF, they're able to connect that idea to its basis in the overall strategy. And then they're able to present various aspects of that. That may be, hey, what would happen if we didn't do this at all? What are the risks and benefits? What would happen if we did a TIF but was only on the commercial districts? Risks and benefits. What if we did a TIF over the entire township? Risks and benefits. What if we did a commercial TIF and a residential TIF? Risks and benefits. And they're able to argue both sides so that they are equipping the trustees to make the best decision that they can possibly make in the circumstances. So that we're not the ones that have to run out and find out, okay, what's the good thing about this? What's the bad thing about this? What's the oppositional research say about this? But it's a thorough presentation that is accompanied by here's how we're going to strategically communicate this to the township. Here are the tools that we're going to use to do that so that we're all on the same page and working forward. You'll notice that I pulled a couple of quotes from Crossroads and their planning in Jersey Township. They said, communications are a major theme throughout the comprehensive planning process. The importance of communication cannot be overstated. And then engage all entities as early in the process as possible when implementing economic development tools. I thought those were crucial comments made by our own developer about how we go about this process and the care that should be involved. And then I wanted to emphasize this planning vision. As you look at the work that's done up here, there is some aspect in which this work is a reaction to what's happening around us, which is absolutely natural. It is sometimes a little bit defensive in nature. And so when you look at verbs like maintain or protect, there's a defensive mindset that is there. And when you come down to casting a vision, there's an aspirational aspect to casting a vision. And that is typically captured in a master plan so that you're engaging in, and I threw out an example off the top of my head. Harlem Township will be the premier residential community in Southeast Delaware County, maintaining its rural roots while developing core infrastructure to serve a growing community. So that you express a line of effort in an aspirational way, and then that is connected then to all this great work that's been done above. Notice that along this, there is an economic development plan. And this is a key part of all of this structure that's already been introduced above. And I thought that comparing the Delaware County Economic Development Plan that just came out in 2023 was a good example, a good model for us to consider as we think of our economic development plan. And you can see that the way that it's broken down, and there is that aspirational nature to their economic development plan. And the very folks that have helped craft these documents, as I've reached out to them, I think are ones that would be willing to come alongside us and provide their expertise as well. And so that's a critical thing that I think we have to consider as a township is every development firm and expert that we reach out to is going to have their specialty, their skill. Where we are as a township right now, if we're thinking about, hey, we've got these tools here, but we really need to craft this tool, there's a different set of SMEs that we need to reach out to and hear their voices and let them speak into our lives. And so the resolution of this for me tonight, my advice, my counsel to my fellow trustees is to consider next month inviting a couple of these master planners, strategic planners, to come and talk to us about this process and how it might play out in our township for the next step. And you'll notice that I put 924 to 925. So engaging in all these conversations, you look down that list of people, one of the things that I was constantly asking was, where are we on the timeline? Do we have time to step back and, as I said, pump the brakes and engage in this process of strategic planning? And almost without exception, these folks that are engaged in development, et cetera, around our township felt, yes, you have the time. This will take you about a year. We're willing to come alongside and help. We think that we can get the job done and that you will be well situated as you move forward then to the next stage. And I think to not do this is costly for us. And to invest in this at this point has great cost benefit because of building on that foundation, establishing these key relationships that we need to move forward, and listening to these other voices that may speak disparate truth into our lives, but maybe truth that we need to hear as we walk down this process. So that's my little spiel. Do you have questions, comments?
One comment, and I appreciate what you have here, and the fact that stakeholders are identified as critical in the work that we do and in other aspects of life and different industries. Having the stakeholders early and often with us determines our success and builds that right foundation. Stakeholders, I actually had just looked up the definition not so long ago to see how is that defined, yes, if you look it up. And it is those groups that are impacted by, right, the whatever it is you're attempting to do, yes, as well as those that are party and participant in it. So it's two-way.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, these I think the SMEs in this area would find it hard to comprehend that we would try to move forward without the investment of these stakeholders.
Who would be the first three you'd invite if it were up to you alone?
Well, I think having a relationship with Delaware County is vitally important. And understanding what Licking County did with the framework model and appealing to Scott Sanders to do something similar. I talked to Tracy Davies about that concept and to Dana McDaniel as well. Would they be willing to look at the 4 townships in southeast Delaware County and do a strategic plan with all of those folks in the same room? Granted, you may do just like Jersey Township did. You create this plan and you say, forget it, we're not interested. However, you had for a period of time, key stakeholders in a room together, having a conversation and thinking about the impacts of Intel, et cetera, for the next 10 years in our lives. And so you've got a brain trust there, and you have a lot of different perspectives, and everyone is sharpened in that process. So I think Delaware County, for me, is critical. I think the trustees and township administrators in our neighboring townships are also very critical in engaging and building those relationships. A lot of them are further down the road than we are, and we can learn from them. Some are not. And they're going to watch us walk through or stumble through this process. And then I think we have to be continuing a conversation with developers. Jim has already begun that process. That's a no-brainer. And that's going to include municipalities around us, whether that's New Albany or Johnstown, the city of Columbus, et cetera. Those relationships have to continue. Those conversations have to.
Those are important.
Yes. Who knows how those unfold in the years to come. And so they have to be established now. Yeah. Yes.
So John, we've worked together when you were zoning.
Yeah. Yes.
I've been on the zoning commission.
Yes.
But we know each other.
Yes.
What you're proposing here basically is what you say, tap on the brakes,
yes.
Slow things down, have a look at where we're going.
Yes.
And I would say that what we've been doing here in the township for the last 4 years, certainly a group of volunteers which engaged hundreds of people in the township through
yes.
open meetings. If you don't feel that I don't know that you were part of that.
Right.
And I would say at this point, if you don't feel comfortable, bring yourself up to speed. Don't slow the township down. We have already done what you're proposed. We already know where we're going, what we have to do. It's a matter of action at this point, not more study.
So I'm not going to rely on my expertise to respond to you. I would ask for you to listen to those that have been engaged in this process of coming alongside townships over the course of many years in their careers, who look at where we are now and the products that we have now, and don't feel that we are rightly aligned for moving forward. So I don't.
Those are the people that you've talked to.
That's correct.
Not the people that I've talked to. Even people, even MSK.
MKSK. Yes.
Jack. He basically said 2 things during that church meeting: plan and build alliances with the municipalities that concern you.
Right.
And we were in the midst of doing that, and we got shot down. I don't see you posing that we do that now. You say, well, let's go back. We'll go back to where we were,
right.
Go and work our way through this process again. We'll come out the same place we are now, 2 years later, and we will be behind.
I don't want to, I don't have the expertise to comment on that speculation or where we may be down the road. I'm simply saying that these individuals that I've talked to who have spent many years doing this, look at where we are and say, you've got to develop this. So for example, talking with the guy at MKSK, said before you walk into the city of New Albany and you start talking about a jet, then you need to walk into the city of New Albany and say, here's what our vision is. Here's our master plan. And be able to communicate that concisely and professionally. And then in a meeting that probably follows after that, begin to talk about what kind of an economic relationship these communities may have together. And this is an individual who's worked with the city of New Albany for, a couple of decades. And so I respect that opinion. So I'll leave that there.
Yeah, okay. So, but I think what Tom's saying is, and you acknowledge that there was quite a bit of work done.
Yes.
It wasn't just a strategic planning committee. I worked at the tail end of the comprehensive plan for a year and a half.
Yes.
Through the COVID era. I feel pretty comfortable that combinationally between the comprehensive plan and the quick strategy guide and the work that's been done, I think we could put together a pretty comprehensive way to describe to New Albany what our goals are and what our vision is and what our master plan is, to the degree a township the size of Harlem Township needs to. All right, we're not New Albany. We're little old Harlem Township.
Right.
I'd have no problem walking in to see the head of New Albany tomorrow, bringing some materials with me that are already on the books and describe to them, I think, pretty thoroughly what our goals are, because they get back to the 5 points over here.
And I don't know that those are the 5 points that you want to have in your strategic plan. I think that the strategic plan.
A lot of work was done to get to that point. So are you saying you're going to throw that out?
No,
well,
I'm saying that
it feels that way.
No,
because I'm not sure I trust these other guys that they know us well enough to put us in context, which is one of the challenges with the surrounding environment.
Yes.
With the tsunami that's coming at us and the timing that and the urgency that brings. If there was no intel, I'd say this is swell. I don't think we have a year to make some of these decisions, is my opinion. And it was basically the opinion over the last 2 years of people working in the strategic planning committee and discussions with the trustees.
Yes, which are both internal. So I don't want to downplay.
We had lots of help
work that you've done
from Crossroads.
Yes.
So do you disregard Crossroads expertise?
No, I went through all of the minutes and looked at every.
Listen to all the videos.
Tons of it.
What?
But that's okay.
Let him speak. Please.
Yes, and listen to tons of it. And it was clear that either Holly or members of her team were going in to talk to people in Columbus, and they're going in to talk to people in New Albany, or going to Delaware. Very attuned to all of those things.
Right.
Absolutely. But again, this strategic plan is, the focus is on an aspirational vision for the township. And it's a vision that we need to be able to articulate, that we have to strategically communicate to our township members, so that when we're employing these tools, we're able to connect that tool to this part of our strategic plan. And it's not complex. So when you look at Jersey townships, it's not a comprehensive plan. It's not a quick shot plan. It is a strategic plan. And I don't think that it's a hard road to get from our tools and where we are to that strategic plan. It may not take a year. But I think
you should set a goal well short of that.
I think that it could very well be
end of the year
that that these folks look at the work we've already done and they say, hey, we can get to this sooner than you think. And I'd love to hear their opinion about that.
So would I.
Yes. But I think they're value added to the process. Yeah, sir.
When you're referencing strategic plan, your document shows master plan. Are you wanting to say master plan?
So it's
strategic part of the master plan.
Right. It's interesting. Different townships use different words to describe the same thing. comprehensive plan tends to be a land use zoning plan. Strategic master plan are kind of used interchangeably. Yeah, so that's how I'm using it. Yeah.
Was the quick strategy guide considered a strategic plan?
I think it is a strategic guide.
An augment in consideration.
Yeah, it has a narrow focus.
In consideration of the intel.
Of the intel, the case studies, and the immediate needs for the township, whether that's infrastructure kind of needs that we need to beef up our administration here going forward, or we need to create these zoning overlays, and we need to do it sooner rather than later. So that guide is critical to meeting the immediate needs in a strategic plan. However, it's not the strategic plan.
Right. It's not the master plan. I've read the strategic guide. I have.
Yes.
Right. But what I saw when you put Colonel Township master plan here, it looks like a new work that incorporates perhaps the comprehensive.
Exactly.
The strategic.
The work that's done informs that work down there. That work down there just has a different emphasis, a different goal and vision. It's going to be articulated a different way. That I think is a positive for our residents as they see that document unfold. Yeah.
I think what would be a positive benefit to the residents was to take action and not to sit on our hands for another year and bring ourselves up to speed.
Yeah, and so there were clearly breakdowns in all of that, and I personally, when I came on board to the township, one of my emphasis is reconciliation. And at some point, I don't think that problems go away when you ignore them. And they tend to get bigger, not less. And so I think at some point, as a township and as individuals, as human beings in a room, we're gonna have to deal with that and reconcile with one another. I don't know when that is. I think sooner is always better than later. And I think that it's harder to work together on a project if you're still suffering from hurt. And my recommendation is that we reconcile.
So who do you see as the core team that's going to lead this effort in coordinating with all of these elements? I mean, that was one of the reasons why, going back a couple of years, the SPC was formed.
Yes.
But because there was no infrastructure in this township to even know how to take step one.
Yeah.
So how do you foresee that unfolding?
So I put internal stakeholders. So it's not that much different than what you did, I think, with your strategic planning committee, because you want to include residents, which was.
I'm just saying, who's going to organize that?
Well, I would like to see it led by these SMEs, just as Crossroads has helped us with zoning and land use. I would like to see some of these, or one or two of these individuals, be the point person to help us with a strategic plan.
Subject matter experts? I'm sorry.
Subject matter experts, yes. Yes, a SME. So, a Caleb Bell, a Pete Griggs, MKSK, Dana McDaniel, Joe Clace, any of those individuals or combination of those individuals.
That's a bad.
I'd be willing to help, but go ahead.
Well, he may be willing to help, but he's a conflict of interest.
Who is this?
Joe Clace.
Oh, Joe. Okay.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
Copy.
He can't be involved.
The other members, though.
Joe has great experience in strategic planning.
He does, but he brings a lot of clients to the township.
He's conflicted.
You can say, hey, what do you think?
But he is representing a lot of developers.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Concur.
Yeah, that would be not good.
His name's not on there, so let's leave it off.
Okay, good.
So I think having a SME lead a team, and I have residents, large landowners, zoning commission, BZA, a trustee rep who's a rep alone, and HT department heads, fire, fiscal, etc. Helping to contribute.
And not to cut you short, but we have a lot of things
Yeah.
yet to do.
So think, yes, sir. Think on these things. Okay, think on these things. And we'll see where we go.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
have an extra copy here, so.
And I've got extra copies of phone calls and stuff he's done, if somebody wants that.
Okay, I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna go over the shift right now. John, you got a approval here and the monthly meetings, that's something Kendra was doing.
Yeah.
And we're hoping that with the new admin, that'll pick up. But I personally don't think a trustee should attend those. It should be the department heads to have conversation. And if there's a general problem, they can come to a consensus and bring that to the trustee board. My feeling on that. I'm open for whatever you two want to do.
Yeah, my goal there is to facilitate them meeting together, communication, building relationships, and then crafting a strategic plan over time. And whether that's a 1 to 5, 5 to 15, 15, etc., that we're thinking about the future, we're calculating what our needs are, we're looking at our budgets, we're putting together budgets for the end of the year, and we're also working on an agenda the week before the trustee meeting is due.
Well, I
Sometimes
think we're doing that.
Yeah.
And Jason, before Bart wouldn't attend the monthly meetings, but Jason, we get him in there. I think he can make time. He seems to be wanting to be involved.
Very interested. Yeah.
Bring the maintenance department up to speed. I mean, he's jumped in on the playground issue to get certified. I think that's coming up in September. He's doing that. So,
am I correct in understanding that like the department head meetings used to happen in the past?
correct. Yeah, and they went away when Kendra left. So,
And then that's gonna do me a lot of good. Steve, do you want me to bring that back up here?
Yeah.
So I think it would make sense to kind of continue previous best practice, right?
I think so. Like the department heads are meeting, we get Jason involved, and they bring Jim in on it too, besides Mike. And they can report to us what their beefs are, I guess, their consensus.
Yeah. So we're just picking up something that we used to do.
Yeah.
Once we get it going, without the presence of a trustee, really, just to make sure that we're not having any conflicts there.
We would invite a trustee to come if they wanted to.
It's nice.
We try to move it around, but
I hear it.
If you got coffee, I might be there.
I got coffee. I got you.
Okay. Next, activity report for monthly. Well, I don't know. Is that different than what they're sending Lisa for the minutes? Or I mean, the agenda?
I think that what I saw from Mike in this, what you put out, Mike, I think is really good. That I get a really good idea of what you're doing and the projects that you're involved on. And I think the degree to which department heads can provide that kind of a report is very valuable for us as trustees. That it gives us some sense that we don't want to abdicate our responsibility to provide oversight, and that oversight requires understanding. And so to the degree that I personally have understanding of what each of you are doing between our trustee meetings, I find that very valuable. And so quality reports, I think, are a great tool for us to work together, and would enjoy that. Yeah.
So my department, a lot of what I do is boring to the community. So when I go to present like I will tonight, I try to present what's important to the community, not the boring stuff. So, but to report to the trustees would be a different report. It would include everything, but it might be not include the boring stuff that we would normally leave out. So I'm confused. Mike's is a little different. I'm not understanding what you would want from my department. Because the details, might be a little different. It's not that we're hiding anything. It's just a lot of people aren't going to be interested. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, and so I'm thinking this is a report to the trustees. I'm not thinking about the public at large. Okay. And I don't know what my peers think of that.
How detailed do you want? Just hit the
bullet
points.
Start with a report and we'll go from there. Yeah.
The nature of your business, I think, Jim, there's a lot of stuff that comes across your desk that is, not something that we can discuss in public format, right? Either be it from verbal or written NDA.
Problem.
So I don't know that we need to bring that information to the table. I don't know that that information needs to come to the meetings, but I do think it's of our interest and maybe even the public interest of knowing that we had X number of calls on a certain area of the township in the last month, right? Okay. This type of information.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've done a good job too in the past of communicating like the meetings that we had with Galena or, upcoming meetings with neighboring municipalities. I think it's just that activity that we'd like to comment on. We don't necessarily need to know who is calling about what, as I do represent that or I can respect that would present issue for them and for us if that would become public knowledge.
I'm just trying to get an idea.
Yeah. And the beauty of that too is being able to connect that activity to a strategic plan. So here's how what Jim is doing is related to the vision that we've cast and in executing that vision.
Okay. So you want to take action on either one of these two resolutions?
Conversation is good.
Okay. Next you want to talk about Crossroads?
Yeah. So this past month was my first opportunity to sign invoices. And so, and I think, Jim, I'm really looking for insight from you here. When I got to the Crossroads invoice and it was $4,500 for the month, there were 3 bullet points. Work on Cottage Business Overlay District, phone calls with Jim, and coordination with legal counsel on economic development tools, which I would assume is talking to Pete about TIFs. And so I'm thinking, okay, $4,500, I see 3 bullet points, and I have questions in my, that's what I would like. I would love for Crossroads to give me more meat.
There was a lot involved. We're working on that, those overlays. They wrote code, zoning code.
Yeah.
And that, she didn't put that down. I mean, there's a lot of code. There's a lot of parcels involved, a lot of legal, a lot of Ohio revised code study. It's quite involved. And I think I mentioned to Dave or somebody, I said, when I saw that memo, I thought, they didn't tell you what all they did.
Right, they didn't. and that's what I think we need.
Yeah, I can talk to them. They like I said, it's not there again, that's one of those boring things that the public may not, okay, so they're writing code, big deal. But there's a lot of code in that, zoning code, as when you look at it.
And not for nothing, but I don't think any of us are sitting here because we thought this would be fun and exciting. So bore me to death. Okay. I'm begging you, but if Holly and the team could give us more specificity.
I can understand it because
a little bit more meat.
Yeah, I totally agree, because when I saw that, I knew exactly what happened because it wasn't a down month. I mean, it was very, very busy. Yeah. I'm not her biller, but I will pass that on.
Thank you.
Okay, got that one.
And then the Harlan Township Forum has proposed a Meet Your Trustees night in August. And we are, as trustees, I think, are willing to participate in that. We'll hear back from them, I think, on a good day that might work out. We kind of envision that this would involve each of us introducing ourselves and why we're on the trustee board and what we hope to accomplish, etc. Have an opportunity for question and answer. And then I think they're thinking about a couple food trucks in the church parking lot and just a time of fellowship and rubbing shoulders with each other. So we'll see what might happen there. That ball's in their court. There are costs associated with this. The best way to tell people about this is a mailer, and it typically costs about $1,500 to get a mailer out to everyone in the township. I think the communications team may help us with that.
So this might require a little bit of date coordination as it falls on the next trustee meeting. Lisa and I talked regarding some previous language, I think in March, that related to a budget for communications as part of SPC activities getting communicated out. That things have obviously ebbed and flowed a bit since then. So I think we're a little bit back at the drawing board as far as budget for communication on the communication side. But communications committee is working on a lot of areas of, for lack of a better term, legitimacy and record keeping. And so things may change between now and the agenda for the next trustee meeting.
Well, we got constant contact.
We do have that. So
yeah, I was wondering about that.
Very good chance that we could use that in the interim or by the time that's ready to go. So that's why I say the timing of this may be important. But I would love to see as much corroboration or cooperation between forum and communications committee as much as possible, because I think it's very important that an event like that be a joint effort. And I will say that my attendance may be dependent on which food trucks show up. So those forum members that are in the room, let's get some good ones. All right.
Okay, cemetery.
We've had issues in the cemetery over the past month with the quality of the work that's been done, and be careful not to throw anybody under the bus, but it's apparent to us, that is to myself and to Jason and Bill in particular, that it really is time to move from external help to making this an in-house project.
Yeah, I personally checked with a couple other individuals and I didn't get any results.
So I did reach out to Genoa Township and asked for help. They are working on an intergovernmental agreement to look at what the liability issues might be. Okay. However, their township administrator is going to Greece, and I don't think we'll get an answer anytime soon. In the meantime, I would suggest that if something were to come up, that we would rent equipment.
Yes, that sounds like a good solution.
And in addition, in the meantime, I talked to Lisa, and funds have been set aside for the purchase of equipment to this end. There is an additional $100,000 from Firehouse Roofing Project that I think
American Rescue Funds.
Thank you.
ARP.
That can be used to this end as well. And so I've asked Jason to price out new, used, coming off lease kind of equipment, motive power to haul that equipment, and storage facility, whether it's up here or down there. And his goal is to get those numbers back to us by next month, so that we are able as a team to make a decision about that. And I asked him to please recommend a course of action to us.
Do we need to do the motion to authorize him, or he's sort of working on his own?
He is. I do think, does it require a motion to rent, for the possibility of renting it?
For renting, yes. We probably should do a motion to approve cost of a rental unit for in case of a grave digging.
Do we have a separate motion for that?
No, we do not. That's kind of came up all of a sudden. And Jason has a credit card, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So can we kind of shred this?
Standard usually 2,500 or lower, or 2,500 or more. You have to get trustee approval if you're a department.
The equipment rental is not going to be more than that.
No,
Yeah.
let's hope not.
It's not one day, because you'll have an opening day and then you'll have a closing day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, depending on the coordination,
Yeah.
I don't know if those would be consecutive days.
They might leave
Right.
equipment. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think we just leave it at that, right? Like if he needs to leave it, if he needs a rent in excess of the $2,500 limit, then we'll bring it to the board.
Okay, sounds good. So, guess next item is your fence.
Yes, so I have, Jason gave me 3 estimates for the fence replacement. I am going to, would you want to hear all 3 prices or just want to recommend the low one?
Are these gonna be chain link or?
It's going to be, yes, that's
There was, I
correct.
know there was some discussion of the black aluminum that's, if you go towards Johnstown anytime, the cemetery has that out there. It's, and I don't know who put it up.
This is 900 feet of 60-inch tall galvanized chain link fencing.
Okay.
The lowest bid is 22,825, and our team is going to remove the existing fence. And that will save us about $4,000 in this case.
Mm.
The other estimates were 27 and 28.9.
Well, we have to minus tax because it says tax on there.
On the bid we're entertaining, the 22.
Yeah, that 22,825.
Yes.
Yeah, it says and tax included in it. So
Yeah, that would have to come off.
yeah.
Do we have the amount to vote on? Or is there additional conversation needs to be had about that?
Yeah.
And what's going to happen with the existing fence once we take it out?
We're going to dispose of it.
Okay.
We could,
Just curious.
if it's galvanized fencing, we could probably scrap that and have some funds to put back in the township. I wouldn't imagine that would be an excessive amount of money, but we could just take it over to Delaware. So it's something to think about.
I think it'd be 21.3 or less. I figured 7% sales tax. That's about what it is.
7.5. Yeah.
Okay.
Between 7 and 7.5.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly.
Not to exceed 22.
That works. Just have to make sure that they do take the tax off the invoice.
What'd you say? How much up to?
Not to exceed 22, I believe he said.
What's the vendor?
Ron Kelly of Kelly Fence.
You want to make a motion, John?
Yes, I move that we employ Kelly Fence to replace 900 feet of 60-inch tall galvanized chain link fencing at a cost of no more than $22,000.
Okay.
And trustee Trainer will sign the proper paperwork on behalf of the trustees.
Certainly.
Yes.
Second.
Okay. Motion's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Next.
There's Jerry Paul is helping with my learning curve transitioning to the cemetery, and he asked for $500 a month for 6 months. I really think it is not going to take me that long to come up to speed on this, and with Jason alongside, I really think 3 months is more than adequate. If
That's just up to you. I mean, if you can, we can approve it if he doesn't use it.
I think 3 months is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think one thing I'd probably like to see come out of that too is maybe a little bit more of a digital collection of the knowledge on how we process the cemetery side, right? Because since Jerry's leaving, there hasn't really been anybody vested like with that knowledge.
Yeah, Valerie's done a great job.
Yeah,
coming up to speed on the software, and she sat down with me this past week and helped out tremendously.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I agree with you that the more that we can get on that to electronic, the better.
Yep, just to
Yeah.
pass it down.
Yep.
Okay.
So then I would move that we pay Jerry Paul $500 for the next 3 months to assist in a transition of knowledge in the cemetery.
Second.
All those in favor, aye. Motion
Aye.
carried. Cemetery grant, you got some insight on that?
Only that I'm gonna work on one.
Okay.
Yeah, we used it last year. We got $2,500 for Jerry to place the pens.
Yeah.
So we will apply for the grant and see what we're able to accomplish.
Do we need a motion to activate that? Or not?
I don't
really
know the
think
answer
so.
to that. I'll just fill out the paperwork.
I would say yes, because
Okay.
you are trying, because
Is that on
John's
behalf of
gonna
the
be
township?
signing and on
Yeah.
behalf and.
So this is the Ohio Division of Real Estate and Professional Licensing. You're not gonna like this name. It's long. An Ohio Cemetery Dispute Resolution Commission.
Oh my.
The Ohio Division of Real Estate and Professional Licensing and Ohio Cemetery Dispute Resolution Commission. And this is their FY25 cemetery grant program. They have $104,000 available, and the application needs to be in by July 31st.
Okay. And so you're gonna move that you're gonna apply for this, and
Yes.
you would be the signer.
Yes, sir.
For a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Chief, you're up.
All right, 017 approval to accept the resignation of part-time firefighter Rocky Booth. He has a full-time job and he's got some other issues. We talked about it. He's leaving on good terms and I would certainly take him back to this situation.
Okay.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
18 approval of pay status change for Joseph Consul. We're taking him from 18 to 19. He just passed medic school.
Okay.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna try to make a long story short here on the road. We went to IEP because we used them for the parking lot and they could do all these things. Originally told them we had $250,000 for the roof. Well, yeah, no problem. Then it was 360 they came back with, and it was 400. And they wouldn't provide what we were asking for. So we went out, talked to 3 companies. We brought it in at $74,999 below the threshold. We're going to get a gutter company to do it. The guarantees we've got, the screws they're using are guaranteed for 40 years. So if there's a leak from a screw, the roof will be repaired for free. There's a warranty with the roof itself for 40 years on the panel, and then 10 years on workmanship. All new flashing, all new drip edge, and we're going to put ice guards on, which we do not have at this time on the current roof, so that will help a lot. And so that's labor and everything. They do require to purchase the materials a deposit of 60%, which comes to for about $44,000 down out of that money, just so they can go get the materials and stuff.
Now,
and then the balance due.
out of this price, did they allow for any replacement of sheeting?
So the sheeting, we're not sure what's up there, and so it'll be $50 extra on top of that. But we just, because they don't know until they get
Yeah, I know.
But it'll be $50 a sheet. So
Okay.
it will be 74 plus the additional cost for the sheets.
Okay, we're getting over that magical number.
I don't we don't know what's
I know. Okay. That would be number 19. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, I'll need an invoice.
Yep.
So, and then I'll need a W-9
Yeah,
too,
I know.
please.
Get it.
Tell me something I don't.
Look at you.
And then for the gutter project piece of it, once we start the roof and once we get going, we want to have some companies come in and give us an estimate on the gutter.
Yeah.
we've already talked to one already, we believe it'll be, well less than 50,000. But if you put the price of everything together, we're still gonna be under 150, which is well under what we originally had thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
And I'd just like the, on that motion, the authority to, take care of that and enter into contract with that, not to exceed.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Motion 20 approved.
And then 21 is to, have our fiscal officer open up a blank certificate with those funds so we can pay for stuff.
Okay.
Using the American Rescue Funds.
Correct.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, aye? Aye. Approved. Zoning. Waited all night, huh?
Yeah. You know, wonder if I was gonna get up here. First and foremost, our permits right now are sitting at 35 for the year. 7 of those are single family residents, 12 are accessory buildings, 5 for remodel addition, 7 for pools, 2 for decks, 1 for revision extension, 1 for solar panels. We also have 2 single family residence permits came in and they've been sitting in an old zoning email. Got a call today. So actually need to fix that. So yeah, Kendra used to monitor that email. It's just one more of those things that's slipping through the cracks and she's not here anymore. On zoning enforcement issues, we're currently tracking 13 code enforcement violations. 6 are businesses in residential areas. 2 of these are with the prosecutor's office right now. Corey's spoken with the attorney. For both properties, they understand that they're in violation of our zoning and the township's stance is cease and desist. Both businesses are exercising their right to attempt to rezone through the zoning commission. Currently, there's not been any active rezoning applications. I got in contact with Corey. He's attempting to contact the attorneys and let them know if no action is taken soon, he will file the civil complaint. One of the business violations out there is a brand new one. I've spoken with and advised them of their options. They are to be at the next zoning commission meeting to pursue the options that they choose to follow. Unfortunately, zoning commission is very busy right now. Working on resolutions. I'm trying to push these issues to the monthly meeting after talking with Mike Kabler. He asked if we could just keep it just to strictly their regular meeting, leave their workshops open to continue working on the updates of the resolution. One of the businesses has made arrangements to move its equipment and will work with the BZA on a variance on the rest of the issues. One of those businesses is turned over to the health department. I turned them over to the health department. They've been issued a violation and given till October 15th to clean up the residence and to the health department standards and register the business with the EPA and follow the standards. The last property is currently working with BZA on an AR1 expanded home occupation variance. The other 7 nuisance properties are for junk cars, discarded debris and trash. 4 of the properties are working to clean up the properties. The other 2 are in Corey's hands and are going through the courts. I'm continuing to work on the sign violations. Been making a lot of calls, they've gotten a lot of them cleaned up off the telephone poles. I'm working with the maintenance department, told them the ones that I have talked to or at least contacted with, they're gonna start yanking them down often because they've got them. So I think I've said before, they're bolted to the telephone poles. So I can go hang on the sign and it's not gonna come off of that telephone pole. So they're gonna have to go out there and put some effort into getting them down, but we're gonna get those down and working on that. We'll move to the other ones that are in the egresses, the right of ways. We'll continue working on that. The Boarding and Zoning Appeals is currently working on an expanded home occupation, and I have potentially 2 more variance issues coming to them. One issue involving a flag lot setback, and one is for road front requirements. I think we settled the side setback lot. Was that guy that came in the other night?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that one's no longer an issue. General comments and information. There continues to be a lot of interest in the township, obviously. The zoning commission is working on the solar panel permit language, and I have information I requested from Crossroads Community Planning. And I've also got information from Delaware County. And I'm going to review it to decide what it is we actually need. And then I'll go to the next zoning commission meeting and we'll talk about what we want on that solar panel issue. Yes.
Association. I'll have to look, but a while ago, they had a whole bunch of information. of resolutions, of zoning. So I can look for it.
I'm on their trainings all the time. I can contact these guys and find it. You don't have to do that.
I don't know if it was earlier this year or maybe late last year. I remember seeing it in one of those, township association emails that they do to us.
When we went to the training at the beginning of this year, I actually sat through a solar panel one up there too. So I got an idea who we can contact. We'll get it straightened out. And lastly, something that's not, I didn't put on here is, I sat through a training today with Pete Griggs, the Ohio Township Association, and talked about the nuisance property, some of the issues we're having, some of the ones I'm going to tackle. And we don't have a written policy as to what we do and how we address it. And there were some suggestions he had in there. So I'm going to redo it and get a new written policy set on that, so that part of it is also checking some of the zoning to make sure there's no ambiguity there, because they're having a lot of problems with that. And a lot of them are getting kicked out in the civil cases. So we've got some properties coming up that we're going to have some issues with, we're going to have to take care of. So I'm going to straighten that policy out and get that straightened out. I'll let you know when I get that. So.
Sounds good.
All right, that's enough.
Hey, Mike, just a quick question. When you're looking at a number of permits, 2024, 7 on single family residential and 13 and 23. Is that year to date numbers or total year?
That's year to date.
Okay, so we got about half the number of new home permits.
Interestingly enough, it was a lot less than that. We've had an influx of zoning permits in about the last month and a half. I think it's been, unless it's the summer or what, or maybe interest rates are coming down a little bit and they're getting it. But yeah, it's way down. And I think a lot of that is because of the interest rates and people are waiting.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
All right.
Okay. We got a motion here to accept the resignation of Virginia Lewis.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Now we have a motion to approve Lewis Greenwell to fill in Virginia's spot. He would fill in the unexpired remainder of the Virginia's term. A motion for that.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Approved.
Economic development.
All righty, finally.
Yeah.
How about that?
The sun's not up yet.
I want to start off with something, and I'm glad it's being recorded because I have some information for the township. So, it's come to my attention. Sometimes we get caught up in what we do and what seems normal to us isn't necessarily normal to the community or the resources available. So I want to discuss a little bit how the community can find out what's going on with properties. As Adam alluded to, sometimes I can't discuss because of confidentiality what's going on. But there's other mechanisms that the community can use to sort of follow what's already transpired. One of the things that was discussed was people drive up and down the road and, I'm talking about these farms have been bought, but all you see is soybeans and corn, and there's nothing being done out there. So one of the things that the community and the residents can do to try to track what's going on is, number one, these are free services. A lot of people are probably already know it, but I want to repeat it, is realtor.com. It's a website that tracks homes for sale. The individual can get on and do a search by zip code of Harlem Township. You can do Harlem Township, but you don't get everything. But if you go like 43082, it'll show the homes and the parcels that are for sale retail. They will also show you what's recently gone into contract. So you can sort of a fun thing. You can track what's going on in your community, and it's free. You just look on it. You can look your own house up. You can look your neighbor's house up. I mean, it's got all kinds of information. Then going further, the Delaware County Auditor's site keeps track of all sales and transfers. That is public information. And all you have to do is go to the Delaware County Auditor site and do, can you get me? Got to pause here. Did you think we wanted a reboot now?
Nobody's ever been here this late.
No, really. So if the individual goes to the Delaware County Auditor's site and pushes property search, you just type in your address if you want, or the address or parcel number that you're looking for. Most of us don't have parcel numbers. So when you drive by a property, if you can get the address, put it on there and it'll bring it up. Then on search, if you go to their GIS map, which is actually a map of all Delaware County, and you can type in an address search. What I recommend is you start with your own property. You type that in, it'll bring it up on the map. Then you can toggle to other properties around you. And if you look at the right-hand side of when it brings up the home information, it will give you a transfer date as to when that property sold or transferred. So that will help the residents, even though they may not see something going on. A lot of these properties have already transferred. So consequently, you can follow that. So something I just want to put out there that people can follow a lot of what's going on just by using, especially that GIS map. That will really help. On to regular business. Just yesterday, Mike Cannon and I went up and met with Tiffany Mag from the Delaware County Sewer Department. We have been working with her for months and months on sewer and what it's going to look like in Harlem Township. We were able to finally get what I call a baseline sewer concept from the sewer department, along with costs of what this may cost, what it may cost us. This is work that would be for southern Harlem Township, basically from the west side to the east side, East County Line Road, and also up to Gorsuch. So that whole area down there, we are looking at a sewer connection. There's a lot involved. Mike and I go, we're learning so much. Geographical problems, depth problems, all these things follow into what they can do, where they can go, and how they can do it. So a lot involved, but we did finally get a baseline as to what can happen, and I'll be happy to discuss that with the trustees and decide where we go from there. But we do have that information that just came in. Also, we have calls into the Delaware County Engineer's Office. I need to get a current traffic flow projections from them on these crossroads and traffic surveys if they've got any. There again, we're trying to get a baseline and what they're projecting for crossroad, traffic coming from Intel, from the north down 605, that type of thing. Another thing that we're also always working with, and they've been calling recently, is with Delco Water. As everybody knows, they're putting up another tower here in Center Village. They're actually contacting us, trying to get a hold of the people in the trailer park. I think they have an interest in the site that their water tower sits on. So they've been trying to get a hold of those. One thing I noticed when we were talking and the TIF discussions and that type of thing came up, I noticed in our zoning code procedures that the developers are required to provide us with what economic mechanisms they're going to use to fund the infrastructure. And these mechanisms include TIFs, JEDs, and NCAs that you work with the township and the county on. That is something that when they come to do one of the overlays, one of the new zoning codes, that they have to provide that information to us, which means they have to work with us and the county on trying to do that. Then studying that further, even though we were there, I mean, there's 300 pages, you can't remember everything. So also I discovered that in our zoning code, we actually require the developers to join a JED if they're in the mixed use overlay. It's a requirement that you join a JED with the township and that the JED has the township has a JED in place. So that's something we will need to talk about later. That's in the zoning, that these mechanisms need to be need to be done in order to get their permits and to go move forward. So these are numbers that we have to be able to work on. Also, we need these numbers to go forward with the sewer department and that type of thing to see what kind of money we're going to be bringing in to help pay for the infrastructure. Our latest overlay has been submitted to the zoning commission, and they will start on the first part of September on the hearings for the new overlays that Holly presented and we've been discussing. These hearings will all be public and on Zoom. So anybody that has questions or that type of thing, they're welcome to attend. They're welcome to comment. There'll be public comment sections. And usually the zoning commission is very meticulous and they will go through it quite thoroughly. Wanted to throw that out there for everybody. Speaking of that, we have one small overlay to complete on the west side of Harlem Township. That will complete that area. It's pretty much already developed. It will probably just be a regular residential overlay. But beyond that, the thing that we're starting to look at and concentrate on is that we have to start on our Center Village overlay. That was last and probably the hardest to do. There's two sections. We've got Old Center Village and we're going to have New Center Village. The idea, again, from public participation and everything that you probably read, was that they wanted a quaint, walkable community. And another thing that came out of the early discussions where the community wants a farmer's market and that type of thing and an expansion of the park area. So when we get started for that, we'll need the participation of everybody. We'll need the participation from, but not excluding, we need the Parks Committee, Harlem Township Heritage Committee, the Tree Committee, the Garden Club. We need everybody because that park system in that central area, along with the fire department, involves everybody. And it's funny when you start looking at it and you go, oh, you got all these committees, all these different things that, so probably this fall, we'll start having community meetings, probably put on by Holly and see what the feeling is, show what work has already been done, see where we can go. But we want to follow the original work, which was that needs to be a user-friendly, walkable community. So that's going to be coming up this fall. One last thing, several questions have been brought up about my participation in the BZA since I am doing the economic development. I stayed on the BZA because if everybody had been watching, the zoning commission and the BZA were lacking members. So I have stayed on until we try to get it full. We had a guy and all of a sudden he quit showing up. So consequently, we now have another member, Amy, who has applied. I know her, she does very well. Once she's going, I will probably step back off of the BZA and let them continue on. So that's the end of my report. Any questions?
Is Amy going to be an alternate or a member?
Well, we'll start her off as an alternate, but when I step down, she's going to jump right in there. She's going to get her feet wet quick.
Okay.
All righty. Thank you.
So, Jim, when you talk about numbers, will there come a point where we see a projection in some of these commercial areas for revenue, et cetera? Are we anywhere near being able to project?
Well, that's what we need to talk about. Of course, I wrote this not knowing what you were going to write. You wrote yours not knowing what I was going to write. So in talking with Tiffany and the powers that be,
we need projections from the TIFs and the JEDs on what kind of money that's going to produce in these mixed use areas. And so we need to use the auditor or somebody like that. Once we get that, start to do that in place, then the county will show those numbers, show what kind of money we're going to produce, you know, tax revenue. The good thing is, from the meeting with Tiffany, is we believe, and this is a completely change from what early started, is that either the county commissioners, I'm not trying to put words in their mouth, or the zoning Delaware County Sewer, they're going to finance it for us. And so we don't have to worry about finding bonds and, you know, using developers and that type of thing to get that started. They have to pay for it, and the commissioners all want, and the sewer department all want paid back. So we have to find out what kind of revenue we're going to generate, then how that corresponds to what the cost of the sewer is, the number of years to pay them back, that type of thing. We're also, that's why I've got calls into the engineer's office for the road structures and that type of thing. So we're at the very beginning of trying to figure this out. As far as once we got an idea where that sewer is going to go, we've got 4 different estimates on what that's going to cost, depending on which plan we, you know, deem possible or what we want to do. It's very expensive. One of the plans was $26 million. So I said, that's expensive. But it covers the whole southern part of the township.
Jim, if we would do the TIF for that southern part, the mixed use part, was that enough to get the ball rolling with the county?
We need the TIF and the JET.
TIF, and so we got to have a partner there.
Yeah, which originally we were going to go talk with New Albany was next on our list. There again, not diminishing our neighbors, but Sunbury, New Albany, and Johnstown only have 1%ers on income tax.
Yeah.
So we're regulated to go try to find people with higher percentages to make it worthwhile. There's some things in the statute where we can sort of daisy chain, but the biggest thing is you want to go with somebody close. Yeah. And when we do go see these people, for instance, like Adam and I went up to Galena and talked to them about a sewer project up there. I took our overlays and I showed them what we were doing and what our vision was for their area. I didn't go through the whole township, but we talked about our vision and what we wanted to do there. He liked it. He said, you guys did a lot of work. So the idea is to take that to like New Albany or Westerville. If we have to daisy chain, which means you get other townships involved in order to meet the ORC to get to Gahanna, Whitehall, Newark. Chief talked to some people in Newark. They might be interested in helping. So, but doesn't mean we have to start the project, but we need to know what these numbers are so we can start paying for this infrastructure. So we definitely need the TIF. And then we also need to start talking on the JEDs. And
I think I talked to Berkshire. They're hooked up with a JED with Delaware, but it's less than 2%. It's like 1.78 or something.
Yeah, Delaware is, yeah. And but Delaware is too far away. It would be easier to go to some of the other entities that are closer. In other words, we want to involve as few people in between that we have to help participate with. They take a very minute percentage to participate. But like if we were going to work our way to Newark or work our way to Gahanna, if we can't work something out with the neighbors. But we do also take our overlays, our vision for whatever area we're talking to them about and explain what's going on. And we've always had good reception. Even when we talked to, Mike and I went and talked with Sunbury, just a general talk. Hey, here we are. This is what we're doing. They were very impressed with the work that's been done. Most everybody we've shown is always impressed. The county is always, all the different sections of the county that we've talked to have always been impressed with what we've done. And most townships haven't done what we've done as far as getting work done. You know, a lot of them wait too late. There again, I don't want to disparage somebody, but Trenton Township, they lost 1,350 acres.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything.
That's the
Yeah,
scary part.
and so, but yes, I personally feel, and we can discuss it, that the TIF is a necessity very quickly. But when the developers come in, as like Pete, I'm just parroting what Pete had to say. It sort of muddles it up a little bit. That was his legal terminology, that it muddles it up a little bit. The developer has to talk to us. But we can still take that 10-year TIF and turn it into a 30-year TIF, including the county.
Mm-hmm.
So ours is more of a developer protection, annex protection, self-protection on the outside. But when we go to actually do something, we can change that and we can make that whatever we work out with the entities in Delaware County.
Yeah.
But we need to start that process in talking to the sewer department, because we have developers that, I mean, they're watching the sewer countdown. They're, you know, talk to Joe Clayson and stuff. He's already starting on stuff. I've got Mike and I were involved in another meeting with a big time developer who's very friendly to Harlem Township. But these guys have a lot of money involved. What we don't want, there's one property that's for sale. I've talked to the realtor several times. We've got people calling us about what they can put on it. It's for sale for $4.4 million. So when they go to do a project, and our code, and this is what I'm worried about, is if our procedure code says that we have to have a JED in place, which helps us and helps them. If we don't have that JED in place, you know, are we in trouble? I mean, are we causing a problem because they want to sell their property? He wants to build on that property. And by code, we're supposed to have one. And we haven't even started one. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So these kind of things I have to look at. We have to discuss on how to get this going. It's property rights, owners' rights, the buyer's rights. You know, we prefer that just stayed a bean field, but it's not going to. And when you're talking about that kind of money, I mean, we're getting calls. Hey, when are you going to do this? What are you going to do? What can I do? I mean, it's just nonstop, and it's picking up. And it's like Mike said, that what will happen is as these interest rates change, and they're talking about maybe a drop, things are already picking up. Our phones have already picked up. I get a lot of calls. I just feel as a township, we have to do something. And I'm going to have to rely on the 3 trustees to give us some direction as to what to do about these situations. And we're not talking, I'm not denying a long-term situation, you know, something to do long-term, but we have to do something short-term to handle these situations. And there have been lawsuits over. There absolutely have, and you can talk with Pete about it. There have been lawsuits over that. I don't want to put us in that position. I just want to have a remedy that we can handle what's coming. We have some time. I mean, it's going to be a year and a half before the sewer's done. So that's where we're at.
Okay.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Real quick, I'll talk about maintenance. Jason and Bill are going to do some coal patch on Hatch Road along the edges. And then they're going to contact county and try to do a chip seal on that portion to kind of put it back together. They've got a 12-inch culvert on Green Cook. It's got to be replaced. It's kind of, the road's showing signs of the culvert going in. And let's see, we got the ditch petition here. That's number 24. I'd rather not approve that tonight. The hearing is August 19th, which I'm going to attend because my property is involved also. If you read the proposed motion, we have 2 assessments. The first one is $33,397.41. The second one is $20.52. This is for our road right-of-way area. One track was like 2.3 acres. Yeah, it was like 3.4 or something like that. So this 33,397 seems excessive. I put a call into Brett Bacon today. I did not get a return call. I'm sure his phone's ringing off the hook because I checked with one property owner on Ridge Street, and they're going to be assessed on that small lot over $7,000. So, and one farmer that's way upstream is being assessed 33,000. But his is a tile ditch coming towards 605, but they're not doing replacement there. The replacement's along 605. So I would rather just leave this lay tonight until I find out. And the hearing's going, excuse me, the hearing's going to be the 19th. And if it would pass, the cost we would have to pay by September 18th. So we still have time to do that.
So we'll just table it.
Yes. Yeah, please. All right, Dave. Sorry for the delay, but talk about the swing and kiosks and so forth.
I just gonna be real weak with these two.
Okay.
John, I really appreciate your presentation. The aspirational vision for the park is up there at 50,000 feet. And so I'm going to give you the 8-foot version here. These are two small pieces, but we are working toward, you know, a vision for the park. And that's all coming together as they go through this. When the old swing set there, we've been corresponding committee meetings, we've talked about the old swing set and where does it fit in? How does it fit in? Should we keep it? Should we remove it? And we're hearing concerns as the years go on about the condition of the swing set. So it's coming to a head, I think, but this isn't anything that I see as an emergency. I think this is somewhere we can have a quiet, respectful, light conversation, a couple of minutes here, a couple of minutes there over the next several months, and let the stakeholders know what we're doing. Seek out, allow people to have different views without going into some great, you know, these will be the middles production here. It's just easy. So I think there are good reasons to keep the old swing set. I think there are valid reasons to remove the old swing set. I don't have an answer. I'm not trying to dictate it out. I go to the old swing set in that area for events, and I see at almost all the events when I've been there for the last 15 years, including Winter in the Park, kids from 2 to 92 out there on the old thing. I see smiles, hear laughter. They're having fun. That place is it's somewhere where kids go to have fun. Park. We're going to take away something that makes the park fun. I think we want to maybe think of this different than a black and white. It's one or the other. You got to reach a decision. I don't want to push that. I think there can be alternatives that people can talk about. Okay. There are concerns about that swing set. We need to be honest with people. Yeah. And there are a lot of other ways we can increase fun in the park. So what I'm really asking here is, let's start a conversation, knowing that we're going to be reaching a decision. It's pretty much clear to me that the trustees will make a decision. I want it to be an informed decision. I think that we can do over the next several months without making this a big production, you know, make this something that the public can see, that stakeholders can see. Okay.
Well, I got the call the day you were looking at it, and the first thing was it needed to be retrofitted at the sum of $3,600 to make it safe. The second part was it was too close to the street by quite a bit, And that concerned me. And I'm an old man and I played on that thing. So, and my experience with galvanized metal, old metal, it gets brittle. So it can break, it could fail.
Those are concerns we've been.
So I would say it's gone, in my opinion.
I think telling people, you know, boy, I want to keep the park a place to have fun, and I see people having fun there, but this one place, it's got to go. What can I do to work with you over the next year? How can we talk about what are ways we can mitigate this loss?
I don't know. Probably maybe a different unit. I don't know if we can place it back closer to the shelter house. That I know if people's there at the shelter house, the kids are on that. Now, what ever become of the fence that was on the metal there, I don't know. If the fence was up, that would alleviate some of the problem of children getting into the street. But I don't know.
I think it's still too close, even if you put a big old fence in.
Well, so there you go. It just needs to come down, in my opinion.
I don't have a lot of answers.
Yeah.
But I want the stakeholders to know that we will listen carefully to their comments, and we will include those in consideration.
Yeah, but the stakeholders aren't responsible for the liability of it.
You just stated it needed $3,600
Yeah.
to fix. Now it's a liability issue with Harlem Township because it was brought up.
Yeah.
If somebody gets hurt, they're gonna come after Harlem Township.
Yeah, the gentleman, was he from the playground equipment company, or who was the guy?
Sell us new equipment, telling us the old swing.
Yeah.
This sort of stuff really looks bad. The optics of it are bad. The idea that after 40 years, something, now the swing sets that they replaced swing sets very much like that were there. Yeah, I can see new standards. I want to see help people build new things that are safer. This is good. I just want to make sure that we leave ourselves open.
Okay, what about
Jason? Isn't Jason trained in?
Not yet. In September, isn't it? He's gone.
Either August or September.
Okay, here's the deal. Okay, you guys agree with me. We'll let Jason get his training, and when he comes back and he says, my gosh, that's got to go. But meanwhile, the chains and the seats come off of it. So we're not liable. So it makes it non-functional until Jason gets certified. And then when he comes back, he inspects it. He's got the certificate. He's certified for that kind of thing.
Mitigating our risk in the moment without making a permanent decision that we can't reverse.
Law degree kind of level, being able to tell me that the swings are too close by 3 or 4 inches, that's, you know, standards kind of issues. So I don't mind people giving me information, but you know,
I think this is our attempt to be more informed.
Yeah.
I agree.
Get the chains off.
Yeah, I think we'll take the swings off, leave them off for 2 months. That way we don't make a decision tonight to take away 40 years of playground legacy. Is that fair? Or more?
That chance to start.
What are you doing? Yeah.
Some mitigation.
We're on board.
Okay.
I expect it just to be a magic wand.
So, Lisa, can we amend that resolution 25?
Yeah, I'll just add the chains and sets off until Jason gets certification on playground.
Essentially, we have
They're not making any decision.
right.
But
No.
Decommissioning that particular unit until a later time.
Make it non-functional.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a motion to that effect then?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, next item.
The bulletin boards that have been out there for decades
Mm-hmm.
are really 1960s kind of stuff. But I had a lot of fun in the 1960s, but information is really come a long ways since then. I think we're looking to try to find a way that people coming to the park will have access to so much more information than any one of us could try to pin up on those bulletin boards that are there in the two of them in a year's time. We can get them lots of information about the park, history of the park. We can get them maps that show them where the commemorative trees are, who name is associated with different trees. We can provide that information right there. We can give them schedules of when people are there for using the ball diamonds and provide information about it. We can give them information on the township. It's all right there. It starts with building a kiosk, something that people recognize as this is where you get information, but build it in a way that over the years we can upgrade, we can get the web connectivity capacity there, that people can look at it. They can get a QR code to tell them about events that are happening that week. They can do lots of things. And as QR codes vanish and we come up with new technology, these things can get in there. We can have something that can last for a couple of generations. That by upgrading, we provide information center. And that's what I want to get started. I don't design these things. So I think we first need to let people know we want to start talking with them, find out who the stakeholders are here, people that have interest in this sort of stuff. And I think we want to start talking with some of the architects in this area to see, you know, what would you recommend and what would it cost for you to come up with the design, you know, at that point. So we can get you trustees information. Here, these are people that can provide architectural design and the paperwork, and this is what they're telling us it will cost. So we can then make a decision. Do we want to keep going and developing something like a kiosk?
Okay. All right, gentlemen, do you want to act on the motion 26 to allow that?
I will move to approve the Parks Planning Committee to research and recommend to the Board of Trustees an architectural design company for construction of a kiosk in the community park.
Second.
All right, all those in favor, aye.
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 All righty. I got a few things here, and then we can open it up. Next month, we'll have a motion for Alan Zako to be alternate on the zoning commission, and Amy Richardson to be alternate to the BZA. And I'd also like to discuss about maybe someone to clean the Grange after the use, to kind of keep maintenance going in a good way there. Harlem Days are going to be August 17th. Setups the 16th. I've talked to Jason about giving a mow job either the 14th or 15th. Does that sound good? And this gravel will be moved out of the parking lot to the concrete plant. He's going to move it. So yeah, very good. Pelotonia 24, the return trip is on Sunday, is going to use the Delaware-Licking County line to Fancher West down Green Cook to the south. And that's August 4th. That's all I got. Any members got anything?
No.
Yes, Joni. Yes. Yeah, sure. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Real short, like anybody, the public got any comments before we, Ed?
Yeah, has a trustee been selected to be the contact person with the park committee?
Nope, not really.
I'm more than happy to do that.
Okay, that's fine.
Sure.
Volunteers.
Curious.
Yeah, more than happy. And so are you my contact person?
No, this is our chairperson. I am on the committee.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, well, we're getting together soon anyway in the cemetery, so.
Yes.
Okay.
And
That sounds ominous.
is there on the township website or elsewhere, introductions of our new trustees, Holiday and Trainer?
The website does have bios on it, but
Do they?
like John mentioned earlier, we're hoping to have a little get together next month, so give you more of an opportunity.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? Gentlemen, do you want to go home?
Make a motion to adjourn if no further business.
There's a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, I think we got to sign the book here.
Actually, listen, I don't usually last this long.
No.
Stick around just to see how